We're live, buddy.
We on
What's going on over there?
live from the basement again.
It's snowing.
It's always snowing here.
It's snowing here too.
Yeah, always snowing. Mr. Roberts, hello.
My day was just made. Thank you so much for hosting this. You're welcome, man. Glad to have you here.
Glad somebody's watching.
Yeah. We're just getting set up here. We're actually like 2 minutes late, so I apologize for that. I came on the stream, and for some reason my mic, the audio wasn't working, so I had to go into the settings and do a microphone troubleshooting thing, and it scanned it, and then all of a sudden it said detected problems, and it picked it automatically. I have no clue what happened.
Operator error.
Yeah, operator error. But we got some people in here, so if you guys could do us a favor and share the stream with a buddy that you think could benefit from this, and we'll have an open discussion, and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. Isn't that right?
Yeah. What he said.
Yeah, what he said.
I'm a little bit hangry. I'm ready to eat.
Okay. You're fitting 150 gallon water hole. Buy my food plot. Worth it. Should I even do it? I mean, I think water holes, not hose, are okay, I guess, in certain situations. Do you need one? I mean, maybe not. It depends if you have bears. Depending what part of the country you're in. If you got bears will sometimes overtake that water hole. And but near a food plot or on the food plot, I don't really think it would go there. But I don't know your setup. Kevin Odell, what's up, buddy?
Mr. Odell, good evening.
He says
the waterhole thing. We always got people asking waterhole questions.
Yeah.
I think I know why, but
it's a popular topic.
Oh, you didn't use the word trend like other guys.
Yeah, trend.
It's a trend.
Oh, really?
No, I guess if there's absolutely no water in your area, a water hole might be beneficial. But
yeah, surely
there's a creek or a spring or a river or a pond or something near this guy.
Yeah,
Well,
water holes. I mean, they can be a good attraction, but a lot of people don't realize
they attract other things too, though.
Yeah, bears and stuff.
Coyotes.
Yep, coyotes. Spring and summer, I mean, deer get most of the water from content from food. Green and growing plants is where the majority of their water content comes from. In the fall and winter, then they are thirsty because they're rutting, they're moving around, and they don't have any green, lush food to eat, so they're lacking water. Lucas, what up?
Love your videos. What is up?
Nearest stream is a mile away.
Well, they will travel that far for water, no doubt.
Yeah. In that case, for the fall, then if you don't have bears, a water hole might be beneficial to you.
Quite possibly. Rut time, they'll be looking for a little drink here and there.
Yep. Lucas, love your vids. Thank you.
We got a question.
How can I raise my potassium? I'm low at 61 parts per million. Add some.
Yeah. 60.
Yeah, you're gonna have to add. How much we bought 60 last year, didn't we?
Yeah. At some point, we put some on our screens and stuff.
Yeah, it was like $16 or something, $14.
I can't remember exactly, but yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to add some. Depending what your soil sample called for, it should tell you how much to add per acre, but you're gonna have to add some 0060.
Yeah.
He said, laughing at that. I was being sarcastic when I said add some. I was just goofing around.
No,
Uh,
you're being mean again.
I wasn't being mean.
Being mean again, smarty pants.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, hammer, hammers with some question, guys. We'll jam through the questions, and hopefully we can help you out with some useful tips. Here's one.
We got
Boom.
gents.
I have 160 acres of timber slash swampland. Would it be advisable to put bedding areas in the middle and food plots on the ends? 60-acre timber land. Would it be advisable to put bedding areas in the middle and then food plots on the ends? Depends how your property is laid out. I mean, 160 acres is a pretty good chunk of timber uh, to where you could have room for bedding. Bedding is it's a hot subject, whether you need it, don't need it, and in some cases, it's beneficial. I think to your land. I think trying to create bedding on too small of a property is bad. But in your case, you have 160 acres. Uh, food plot. It depends how your land's laid out, but typically food plots, like on one of our properties we hunt, the food plot is in the center of the property, and I don't 100% like it there, but it was an old field, and we made it work. You can make it work if the food's in the center, but it just depends how your land's laid out. You can have food and then cover for deer to bed in. And the whole point of creating that bedding around food would be to keep them there so they can travel, to your evening food source to make them more predictable. But you have to be careful when you do that because sometimes when you create bedding on your property, you can actually make it worse.
I'm sure with that much property, though, he could get an entrance and exit plan,
Oh yeah.
strategically place something there and sneak in on something.
Mm-hmm. So I say it's hard to answer questions like that because you don't know how the property is laid out.
Yeah, can't know that.
City sticker.
He's laughing. He's laughing because I was messing with him.
Yeah. Scotty. What's up, guys? What is your suggestion for a first-time food plot inside the woods, half-acre clearing? Go.
Oh,
Answer.
we got a
Don't leave,
lot of videos.
don't leave them hanging.
Oh, we got a lot of videos there. I mean, he can get on either one of our channels and look for those titles. Actually,
Yeah, sure.
actually, he can go get both of our last videos. That was our virtual expo seminar video on either one of our channels, and it's right there. It's the same video, so you can look up either his or mine. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be a really good starting place for you. We kept it really easy, step by step, start to finish. That'll give you a lot of good tips, Scotty. Thanks
Yeah.
for asking.
But just to answer his question quickly, I mean, a first-time food plot inside the woods.
All right, go get your soil test first. See what you need to do to amend your soil. And
Make sure
some of the easiest things to plant is clovers in the spring or buckwheat in the springs. I mean, it's real easy to grow either one. And then in the fall, you can't go wrong with winter wheats, winter rye, oats. Brassicas are easy to grow. I mean, there's a plethora of things to do that are real easy, Scott.
make sure you get enough sunlight. We planted annual clovers in a woods plot 2 years ago. We did it last year too, but 2 years ago was the first year of the plot, and it was amazing. What you can do with some clovers.
Yep, just make sure you got 4+ hours of sunlight coming in there.
Mm-hmm.
4 40-acre plots in a line.
1 mile long by 400 yards wide. Yeah, so it's rectangle shaped. In that case, then yeah, I would put your food kind of on. You can either do it on the edges or on the front or the back of the property, and then you can stagger your bedding areas accordingly, and then hunt. Access it through around your edges and tuck into the woods and do it that way. We did a property layout 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and it was kind of like that where we took the back uh, 20 acres, 15 acres, converted it to a select cut for bedding and food and regen and everything, and then had food plots, staggered on the front side of it. Can you plant clover with only hand tools? Yes, you sure can.
Ooh, for sure. Yeah, here in the next month or so, you can start frost seeding.
Yeah, he says in the woods, 100%.
Sure thing.
Yeah, we do that a lot. It doesn't take much as long as you get down to bare soil. I mean, really, guys, tend to overthink it and overdo it with food plots, but it doesn't take much. The simplest way to explain it is think of a bird. When a bird eats and it poops out a seed, that seed lands on the ground, it germinates. It doesn't take much. All the guys with these giant cultipackers and building all these cultipackers, and it's overdoing it.
How about the helicopters from a maple tree spinning down and falling in your gutter, and you got a sapling growing out of your gutter. There's just some dirt in that gutter, and it gets watered, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it gets the sunlight.
Are you doing any shed hunting yet? When would you start running cameras again? For me personally, I'll shed hunt early March. I don't have a lot of time right now, but early March I'll start working on the properties and cutting some trees and doing different things, and I will shed hunt a little bit. I'm not a huge shed hunter. I'll start running cameras around April. I'll put the cameras back out and start scouting for turkeys.
Yeah, I'll probably start putting cameras out April or May, because I like the bear hunt. So I'm going to start running cameras then, checking for any action there coming out of the den.
Yeah. Kevin Odell, just curious on what you guys pay for a bag of pellet lime out there. So for in Maryland, it's $4.23, something like that. $4.25.
Yeah, I think here it's between $4.85 and $5.
Yeah.
In PA.
Yep. It varies. I mean, you can catch sales at like Tractor Supply, and what's interesting is ag lime, powdered lime. We check prices compared that to pelletized lime, and bags of ag lime is more expensive than pelletized lime, and that kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info, guys. By the way, use plot start instead of lime. Nah,
never tried it.
I just had this question pop up somewhere today or yesterday or something. I replied. Plot start. I know the company. I know the product. But liquid lime. Here's the thing. If I'm not opposed to using liquid lime. For me though, let's say I get a piece of property or something that I know that I'm only going to hunt it for 2 months or something, only going to hunt it 1 year, and I'm putting in this little tiny plot. Do I want to take my time and effort and money and put all this pelletized lime onto it that I'm never going to hunt the property again? No, I would use such a thing as liquid lime for something for some instant gratification. I'd put that on there, and it would give me something on my own properties that I live on and hunt on and you lease or whatever, I'm going to take the time and effort to put lime in there because the simplest way to explain it is um, lime actually fixes the problem, neutralizes the soil permanently in best case scenario to where it'll unlock those nutrients in the plant and allow the soil to feed the plants and feed the deer year round. When you use liquid lime, it only neutralizes that soil, say for a month, 6 weeks, 2 months at most. Then that soil goes right back to acidic, and then you stop the transfer process where that soil's bound up again. It's not giving the nutrients to the plants. And it's not giving the nutrients to the deer.
It's a Band-Aid. Quick fix. Quick fix. Yep. Instant gratification. Doesn't last.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the easiest way to explain it.
But yeah, like you was saying, if somebody had a permission to hunt somewhere, or they had a lease and wasn't sure how long they was going to be able to keep that lease, and they didn't want to invest a lot, I guess could be beneficial that way.
Yeah, I mean, it could be one of them things too, where if it's a good product, typically the hunting liquid lime products are junk. If you go to the agricultural side of things where they sell liquid lime, there's a lot of good ones there. But it's a good thing that you could do on top of your lime applications because you're adding that calcium and stuff directly to the plants, and you're giving or to the soil, which is going to give it quickly to the plant. So it's good and bad to it. Again, it's a Band-Aid.
Well, it's not actually cost effective either. I checked with one company. I'm not even going to say their name, but I checked with one company. They for a 5-gallon pail of it, they wanted $145 for 5 gallons. Yeah. And yeah, it's a little bit concentrated. You would mix water with that, and it would probably, I think they said it would treat like 3 acres or something, But you can go out and get a whole pallet of lime for $200.
I know that's
a ton. Depending on how much you need. I mean, I don't know.
Each situation is different, but
every situation is different.
I mean, like you said, you could take a pallet of lime and add it, and it may cure your problem for 3 to 5 years. And if you're paying $130 for liquid lime, and you're applying that every year, you spent more money than you would have if you just bought the pallet of lime.
Yeah.
Ooh, spraying frost seeding.
Okay, since I said it, you want me to take it? I think that was the guy said about frost seeding.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, the frost seeding is a process. It's really simple. You like to do it when the snow is off and the ground is exposed. And if you ever noticed your ground when there's really cold out and it's all heaved up and the water's making pock marks in the dirt and things, and you've got all these crevices, and what you're going to want to do is go out there and broadcast it with a spin spreader. You get the seed on the ground, and what happens is you get those freezing temperatures at night, and then the sun comes out in the daytime and it thaws, and your ground is actually shifting with that freeze thaw action. And what it does is it works that seed down into the dirt for you, so automatically you get seed to soil contact that way. And then I know I got stuck with my hands here, but yeah, that's what's happening. You get the freeze thaw action, and it puts the seed where it needs to be, Mother Nature way, and it automatically, when the soil temperature rises up and there's some moisture in that dirt, that seed will germinate, and automatically you're going to have a clover plot going. Mm-hmm. But you still need to follow up with your soil samples and things and see what that clover needs. You want to get your pH balanced and get the right fertilizer on there. But yeah, that's the easiest way I can explain that. Scotty, um, yeah, that's easy to do. Just go out and fling it, let Mother Nature put it where it's going to be, and it'll come up all by itself. It's really easy.
It's a very powerful tool to use. Jeff, they're out in Kentucky right now. I think they just overseeded all their pastures and hay fields and stuff with like 1,000 pounds of clover. So farmers do it all the time. Frost seeding their pastures and um, there's different scenarios with everything, but it's a very powerful tool.
You can even do it uh, around Thanksgiving time or rifle season time, and you can do it as late as that, and it'll just lay dormant, till spring, as long as
Yeah.
it's not too wet and it'll rot, But yeah, it's real simple way to do it.
Ouch, that's crazy. What was that too?
Ouch, that's crazy. Oh, the price of the lime, I believe that was. Hey, I think you missed one.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Um,
Here it is.
there he is, buckshot. What a
Sorry,
name.
sorry, Buckshot Morgan, I missed it.
Yeah.
Howdy, what's y'all take on spring summer food plots? So I explained this in detail on our seminar video we released yesterday. Um, but the easiest way to explain it is there's two scenarios. One scenario is, say you have a quarter-acre food plot, okay, on your property, and you're surrounded by dozens and hundreds of acres of ag. What is the point of planting your quarter-acre food plot? What are you planting it for? If you're planting it to turkey hunt, then great. If you're planting it to think that you're benefiting the deer when they have dozens and hundreds of acres of ag, I believe that it's a poor choice because you're not going to benefit them that much. Now, if you're in a huge wilderness area, huge timber, and there's no food around, there's no ag, there's no nothing, and you start putting these food plots in the spring and summer, it's going to have more of a benefit than it would if on the other scenario. So I think they're beneficial, but again, it goes back to each situation is different, but they can be a powerful tool. Yeah, no? What do you got to say about that?
I don't know if he's maybe asking our take on what to plant summer fruit plots, maybe. So I'll add to what you said, and we like to go with buckwheat or annual clovers for smothering weeds. I'll just add that in, no extra cost.
No extra cost.
No extra cost.
Would you suggest spraying liquid lime to get the pH up fast, then come in and maintain it with ag or pellet lime? You could, but then you're doubling your cost.
Yeah.
It's liquid lime. Farmers use it a lot. It's kind of relatively new in the hunting world. It's another tool to use, but you have to analyze the situation on what I referred to earlier. Are you hunting this property year round? Every year it's your property, you lease it, whatever, or are you hunting it for a one-time shot? And like you said, yeah, you could do that, to where you boost that pH up very quickly and then maintain it with ag lime. You could, but then you're doubling your cost. It just depends. I mean, I'm not opposed to liquid lime. There may be a time in my life that I'll use it, but it depends on each situation.
Sean Myers said, "Hi guys." And Scotty
Where?
said, "Great explanation."
Yep. What's up, Sean? Scotty.
Oh, that was for the frost seeding explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, Scotty. Good luck with that. It's easy, man. You can do it.
Oh yeah. Easy. Very beneficial. New landowner, 12.5 acres, 100% wooded with a river running through it, Southwest Michigan. Where would you start? Mature hardwood, river, ravine. I own both sides, blueberry country. Want me to take it or you want to do it?
Oh, whatever. I like the
Well,
sound. I like the sound of water and blueberries though,
oh yeah.
and hardwoods.
Um, so 12 and a half acres
Sounds
is,
nice.
yeah, is relatively, small, which is not a bad thing. But if it's 100% wooded with a river running through it, Southwest Michigan, I would personally look at what you're lacking on that property. So if you go on that property and it's you said it's 100% wooded, is it closed canopy to where there's zero food on ground level? 12 and a half acres, I would spend my time creating more food. Depending on what it's surrounded by, I would look into finding an area where you could eliminate some trees and plant a good quality food source. I would possibly look at maybe select cutting, a quarter of that property to where you can get more sunlight in there and get a lot of woody browse regeneration. Um, but I would look at food personally. 12 and a half acres, I wouldn't concentrate too much on bedding. But again, it depends on how your property is laid out. You could essentially select cut, say 6 acres of that, and create, food around. It just depends. But I would look at food first.
Well, if he's got blueberries in there, he's going to need some. He's going to need sunlight to them anyhow. So sounds like he could use a little select cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, find which if it's oaks, hardwoods, find which ones are producing the best, and select cut around those trees.
Mhm.
Don't take out your big producers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think cutting trees and such is a it's a very unused tool with deer hunters, but it's probably one of the most powerful ones because most hunting areas are there's no sun shining, and you don't have no understory, you have no woody browse, you have nothing coming up. It's just an open woods. You can just see right through it. No problem. Starting tradition outdoors. How did y'all's plot in the woods doing, and what are y'all planning in it this year? It's doing great. We planted clover the first year, and then in the fall we did some winter wheat and I think some winter rye. The following year we frost seeded clover into it. Had a great stand of clover. Did you till that back up this year? Last year?
Yeah,
Okay, so you
yeah,
tilled it back up, and then we planted winter wheat.
yeah. Because remember we talked about when we get the skid steers back in there this year, we're going to take those remaining stumps out
Yeah. Yep.
because the
So yeah,
groundhog max was hitting some stumps here and there.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna clean that up a little bit. Get the stumps that they've rotted in there for 2.5 years now. So we're gonna pull them up. But what are we going to be planting? Um, honestly, I probably won't frost seed that this year because of the stump issue. I don't want to go in there and rip it all
Yeah,
up. But there is winter wheat in there, so that winter wheat will come back this spring. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just let that come up. It'll shade out the weeds. Deer will eat it for a little while, and then once we get in there with the tractor or skid steer and remove the stumps, we'll probably disc the plot up, and I'll probably actually plant a quick planting of like buckwheat or something in there. And then in the fall, I'll come back in and plant something from domain, whether it's the brassicas or clover chicory mix or something like that.
yeah. Well, here at the house, I had some plots in the woods, and I early on I just had buckwheat in 'em. Then I
Mhm.
then I disked that in, and for the fall, I had a hybrid called Pawsjaw in there. It's a hybrid between it's a Nebraska hybrid between like a purple top and a radish or something. I think it was some kind of hybrid,
Mhm.
and it looked good, but didn't seem like they really hit that really hard. I was kind of disappointed with it, but
Joke.
I went back in because it wasn't a real attractant. I went back in and overseeded with winter wheat, and then they started hitting it all. Then it was just like it wasn't sweet enough for them or something. And when I overseeded the winter wheat, and it started to come up real short and supple and sweet, they started hitting it hard. So
Right.
And I got a couple of trees I got to take out too. So we're not perfect either.
Cool 80-acre blueberry up the road, mostly closed canopy. Yeah, closed canopy. I mean, like you just got to work on food, man. I mean, open it up, figure out what trees you want to take out, and just start opening that sucker up.
He's got a half-acre open canopy, but it's near the road.
Yeah,
depends.
I mean, you could screen that off by the road. You could cut some trees down to block it off from the road and plant it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Depends on how much traffic there is, if you've got any close neighbors, if you've got spotlighting issues, poaching issues. Yeah, it just depends on those type of things. Yeah.
Depends how close it is to the road. Sean, so this year we're going to rent a skid steer and actually just dig them up with the bucket, rip them right out of the ground.
Yeah, we did a project last year, and we expanded plots at one of the properties, and we got this skid steer in there. We knocked a bunch of trees over, and stumps and all. We just knocked the whole tree over and got the trees off of the plot. So we took a 2-acre plot, made it into 3. So that wooded area that we're talking about that we planted was some of the trees we cut down, so the stump was still there, and some of them were old trees from a select cut from like 50 years ago that the stumps were still there and they were trying to rot up, and now they're getting pretty punky, and I think they'll tear out pretty easy. Get a skid steer in there, hit them with that tooth bucket, and they'll just pop.
Yep.
So that's how we're going to remove those, Sean.
We're going to soil sample it sometime in March, and we may add a little bit of lime. I know we started in that plot with a 4.
It was low.
Yeah, 4.2 pH. I think the first year, it's only a quarter acre, less than a quarter acre, but we added 2,000 pounds of lime the first year. And then I think the second year we came in and added 1,000, I believe. And last year when I checked it, it was a 6, I believe. 6, something like that, 6.1. But when you went in there before, there was nothing but leaf litter. I mean, it was very bad soil, acidic, just junk. After 2 years now, you pick a hand of dirt up, it looks like actual soil, dark soil, nutrient rich. So I mean, you can change the soil. It may take a little bit, but over time, you can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep any of the down trees for side cover when making the clearing in the woods for the plot? For the quarter acre plot, no. We take the trees out of there or drag them away from the plot or such. We don't want the trees laying there next to the plot to create bedding, because it's right next to the food plot. So every time you'd go in there, you would spook them out. There's Belinda.
There's Belinda. She's back.
She's back.
Yeah. Look, she's going to try some buckwheat because she's got a low organic matter. She's listening. She's listening well.
I think she commented today on the video asking, I might have been last night, but asking about the what was a good CEC and
I had a question on my video about that too from somebody else, and there is no magic number. Your CEC is going to change with organic matter, and the longer you plot where you're at and you're helping your soil, your CEC is going to climb a little bit, and it's just going to make it easier or better for you. Your fertilizer is going to work better for you, that it's not going to just sift right through like a screen. Imagine like a screen door and you're pouring water through it. That's what it's like when your CEC's low. Everything just leaches straight through.
Well, her CEC is 12.5, which actually isn't that bad.
It's not that bad.
that just determines like what kind of soil that you have, really. The organic matter now is 3.2, which is very low. So
Yeah.
that just means you need more decaying vegetation in that plot, such as buckwheat or clovers or turnips, whatever it is. But I mean, I think our property, we started with like the CEC was around like 6 and organic matter was like 4% or something. Last year we checked, we have CECs up in the 14s, 16s, 18s, and organic matter percentage was like 12, 13, 14%. And I show people those numbers and they're like, how do you have organic, matter that high? And it's just a matter of keeping something in the ground and working it back into the soil. Hey guys, just following up on your advice, I was able to buy 200 pounds of buckwheat seed for 85 cents a pound at North Idaho at local seed company. There you go. I think he messaged me or commented, Jeremiah, a couple days ago and said he couldn't find any locally. I think that was him.
Yeah, he's got it now. That's a pretty decent price.
Yeah, that is good.
200 pounds, man. He's going to put a lot in.
Yeah, it's a lot of buckwheat. Do deer bed in switchgrass if I would leave a pocket of briars? Well, deer are going to bed where there's food. So, I mean, they could bed in switchgrass if there's food there, but switchgrass isn't food. So, man, people are really on bedding stuff, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A deer's going to bed where it wants to
Wherever
bed.
it gets tired, it's going to lay down.
Yeah, like I've been hunting for 22 years and I'll sit in a tree stand and all of a sudden a buck will come up and it'll just lay down when it gets tired. There are times where you can manipulate that and create bedding areas and have deer bed in them if you don't have that, sure. But, is a deer on a bed in the same spot every single day? No. But you can encourage them to bed in certain areas, but it's a crazy topic.
Yeah. A lot of opinions out there.
Yeah, it is. And it's good. Opinions are good. Have 30 acres wood in Pennsylvania this June. Put in first plot 2 to 3 acres soil test after stump out clear. Question when plant after clover, what pH and need cultivate grade up yearly? You want to answer that?
Wow. That's a lot of stuff there. Have 30 acres this June. Put in first plot soil test after stump. So I would ask what your pH was after your soil test.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to plant clover any time after, around March time. You could put it in frost seeding it.
Yeah.
If not, you can wait till April, May when the temperatures in the dirt rise up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
pH optimally should be around between a 6.5 and 6.7, but clover will grow at a lower pH, obviously. Need to cultivate grade up yearly. No, you don't. You don't have to plow that up yearly. You can get annual clovers, which will grow really quickly in the spring and summer and smother weeds, or you can go with the perennial type that'll last you 3 to 5 years with mowing.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to cultivate that yearly.
Yeah, in those perennial plots, you'd still need to frost seed, or you should, because sometimes they do get bare, a little thin and stuff, and you can fill those in with just frost seeding.
Yep, you just touch them up every year, whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely. Where you at, William? I'm in PA, Jefferson County.
You're not in PA.
Yeah.
How maintenance yearly weeds, etc. Cultivate scratch out.
how to maintenance your clover. Well, like we just said, if it gets thin dot or whatever, you can frost seed it, or you can just add it in at any
Melt,
time.
keep
Add
it
it
mowed.
on. Yeah, put it on right before rain. Mow it for weeds. Yeah, definitely. If you get too much of a weed catch, yeah, you might want to terminate it and start over. Where can you get a soil sampler? Well,
Tons, tons of places.
yeah, you can buy them at a Tractor Supply. You can buy them at your local co-op. Uh, there's all kind of places. Your local ag and feed stores sell them. They're
Mhm.
anywhere between $11 and $14 on average. And if you don't know about that, you can how to take a soil sample. Dave and I both have those videos on both our channels. You can go look at those. Basically, you're taking about a cup of soil, putting it in a baggie, and sending it off to a lab. You mail it through the
Mhm.
mail. They'll weigh it and put a tag on it for you. You send it out, and within a week, you'll get information back of what your pH is and what your recommendations are for fertilizer.
Yep.
So that's how you do soil sampling.
I don't think deer really eat buckwheat that much. Yeah, they do.
Well, they will.
It's not deer food per se, but they will eat the heck out of it. Typically, they don't eat it until it flowers up, and it also depends what they're used to. Sometimes it might take them a year or something to get used to it, but they will eat it. But it depends on the purpose of planting it. Do you really want them to eat it? Because most times buckwheat is planted just to add green manure to the soil and prevent weeds, just to have something in the ground growing through the spring and summer. So it depends. Do you really want the deer to eat it? But it just depends. But they will eat it. But usually they won't eat it till about the 50 or 60-day mark.
They eat the snot out of it here at my place.
Oh, they
Wipe me out.
Yeah, they mow it down where I'm at. Just finished cleaning the pine needles and weeds. What should I do? I already got a pH test.
Halfway there.
Yeah. Wait
Yeah,
for that.
definitely.
Figure out what the pH or what the soil test calls for. Throw some lime in there, get that working for you, and then decide what you want to plant or if you should plant in the spring and summer.
Yeah, you can incorporate your fertilizer at time of planting, uh, especially if it's calling for a high nitrogen amounts. Yeah, put that in, disc it all in, get it ready, get your seed out. It depends on what your goal is. I mean, you can frost seed now or in March, get that going, or you can wait till your soil temperatures start to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's near Bloomsburg. Okay.
How far is that from you?
Oh, Bloomsburg, it would take me about 2 hours of hammering across Interstate 80. Yeah.
Thoughts on an Imperial no plow? I planted that like 5 years ago just for a test, and it grows good, but it's got a lot of ryegrass in it.
Never used it.
USDA Ag Extension Area Free Testing. Yep.
Sure.
You can definitely get that.
Yeah, you can get free testing there if you have one of those.
Mm-hmm.
If not, for a $20 bill, it's cheap insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know why guys skip it. I really don't.
I don't either. I don't get it.
There should be a video out there, the biggest fail known to man for food plots, and it's guys skipping food plots.
I have that. I made like 2 years ago the biggest fail, and it was food plot or soil samples, and
yeah, skipping soil samples. Yeah,
and the video got like 30 thumbs down, and I was scratching.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. I don't get it.
It's the first thing you ought to be doing.
Love these live streams. Thanks, Sean.
No problem.
Ooh, I want to answer this one.
Oh, you go for it.
Terrence, what's the best seed blend for spring planting in Georgia? Well, I believe there's a best seed for each application. So I don't know how big the plot is, what you're trying to do, what's around it, but some good suggestions would be some annual clovers, some buckwheat. If you have tons of acres, I mean, you could do soybeans. So there's really no best seed that I can say because I don't know the situation that you're in, but there's a lot of best seeds out there, but each one of those seeds would need to be for a specific application. Buckwheat, clovers, sunflowers, soybeans, iron clay cowpeas, um,
Chicory, alfalfa.
chicory, alfalfa. It just the list goes on. I mean, some guys will do a mixture of like sunflowers, buckwheat, and
Sun hemp.
sun hemp. You know, because they're trying to build up that soil, and that sun hemp. Sun hemp can grow about 10 feet tall, and it's very, very woody. It's got really good stems on it, high in moisture content, very, very high in protein. Deer will eat the heck out of it, but it's also good for the soil. Like sometimes I'll plant sunflowers because they're so, you got that huge head on there, the stalks, and you just incorporate that back into the soil, and you can build your soil up very quickly. Have you ever used Throw and Grow? I have not.
I tried it before, and yeah, you get some green results, but flip the bag over once and you'll see that the most major ingredient in it is ryegrass, and deer do not prefer ryegrass. So you want the rye grain. You want winter rye or spring rye
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to use rye.
What type of Braskas? How about a
Ooh,
Braska that can regrow 4 times? How about a hybrid Braska? Um, Domain came out. They found a hybrid Braska um, that can regrow 4 times. So a deer takes a bite of it, it regrows. Deer takes a bite, it regrows. Deer takes a bite, it just keeps coming up to 4 growth cycles. But I mean, you got purple tops, you got uh, rutabagas, you got
you're racking your brain.
I got there's
I
so
love
many
it. Put them on the spot.
there's so many Braskas,
Yeah, purple top, kale.
turnips, uh,
Yeah, radish.
radish.
Yeah, there's a rape.
Yeah,
Uh, there's a lot of different brassicas.
I just like saying the word rutabaga.
Rutabaga. I don't like saying rape.
Now, what do you recommend planting in a woods food plot in PA? Annual clovers. I like it.
Is that I'm guessing for springtime
Probably, yeah.
is what that is. Yeah. Yep.
We got a lot of people in here tonight, so I thank you guys for joining in.
I don't have a ticker on my end. We got a number of people on.
34 people.
Hey, nice. Nice.
Jamie, what about a blend from North Carolina, half-acre plot in the woods that I opened up? Your turn. Answer.
Well, obviously this time of year he's talking about a spring plot, and a blend. Well, we had pretty good success with that, but we used some unconventional things. uh, we did plow down clovers. We did annual clovers.
Yeah.
And it was a blend of clovers is what it is. It's a blend of annual clovers.
Yeah.
It had some red stuff in it. It had some white stuff in it. But there again, they're annuals, so they're not going to last till a frost time.
They'll last a year.
So you need to figure what you want to do for the fall. So I call them plow down because that's what you're going to do to put in a fall plot there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be miserably failing come hunting season if you're planning on planting just annual clovers in your spring and summer plot and think you're going to hunt over them in the fall. they won't be there when you're ready to hunt.
Yeah.
Especially after a frost. If there was anything, it would be definitely nothing there after a frost.
Read that real quick. I gotta answer this.
Starting traditions outdoors. If you don't get a soil test, you're just throwing your money down the drain because you don't know what you need to help your food plot to be big and beautiful. That is absolutely correct. We're guilty. We always say, "Oh, this isn't rocket science." We say that a lot, but as I put in our last video, the one for the seminar, and we even said it there. We said this isn't rocket science, but there is some lab science behind it. When you get your soil tests and they give you recommendations, it's going to suit the dirt that you have, that you sent in. According to what you send them, they send you back recommendations of what you're lacking. And there's a lot of things that in certain areas, some places lack, sulfur and micronutrients and things. You're lacking something, no doubt. There's going to be something lacking every year. But every year that you do this in the same spot, you rotate different crops in and out, you're taking different nutrients in and out. These soil tests will tell you what you need to add back in to be successful. And like I just said a little bit earlier, for $20, it's cheap insurance to not fail.
Yeah. What do you recommend for planting in the woods food plot less than a half acre in PA? Going to take a soil test, then take all of it. It's somewhat shady. In a shady situation like that, I would do some annual clovers in the spring, and then for the fall, I would do straight winter wheat. A lot of PA guys tonight.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, you could do winter rye as well. I mean, both of those are pretty shade tolerant, but again, I mean, you still need sun. But winter wheat and winter rye are pretty. That's the most thing that I can think of that is the most shade tolerant.
Yeah, in the spring you can get away with some chicory with your clovers.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal here is to have sunlight. So if it's a little shady, I would look into taking down a couple trees here and there, some of your non-desirables, and just getting some extra light to the ground if you can. At least get some filtered sunlight in if you can't get full sunlight.
Here's a question for you since you're the math whiz.
What's that?
Say your soil test calls for 50 pounds of phosphorus, NP and K, and you go to your feed store. What's the percent when you buy it by the bulk? Thank you.
So it says calls 50 pounds of phosphorus.
Yeah, he needs 50 pounds of feed. So
it depends on what numbers. It depends on the numbers on the bag. It depends on what the number is on the bag.
Yeah.
So your NP and K, so you're looking at the middle number. Okay. Yep. So if you're going for, if you got nothing but 10, 10, 10, and it's calling for 50 pounds of phosphorus, okay?
Yep.
To get a true 10, 10, 10, those numbers on the bag are dealt with 100-pound equivalents. So if you're buying only a 50-pound bag of 10, 10, 10, you're really only getting 5 pounds of N, 5 pounds of P, and 5 pounds of K.
Yes.
So to get that true 10, 10, 10, that middle number P, if you want 10, you have to buy 100 pounds of it. Okay. Yes. So you do the math, multiply that by 5, that'll give you 50. Okay. So two bags will get you 10, 4 bags will get you 20, and on and on. 3 bags, you can do it.
Yeah. Just look at the number in your head. Go 050. That 5, like if you were like 010, take that in half, you're getting 5 pounds of P. So you have to figure out that number. If they sell 0.20, then you're getting 10 pounds of that. So you just have to do the math.
Yeah, but remember, 2 bags, 100 pounds equals those numbers on the bag. You have to remember that. That's how you have to figure it out.
Yeah. Now
it's so confusing.
Yeah,
if you
it can
don't understand that.
Yeah. And somebody might ask, well, what if it's a 50-pound bag and you're only getting 10 pounds of actual fertilizer, what the heck's in the rest of it? Well,
exactly, fillers.
The rest of it is just salts and fillers.
Now, the particular brand we buy is mixed with lime and some other salts and fillers, but there's at least lime mixed with it, which is good because when you're adding hundreds of pounds of fertilizer to your ground, it actually subtracts a little bit from your pH. So if you can, upon planting, even if you had your optimal pH set before fertilization and planting, when you go to put all these hundreds of pounds of fertilizer on, it's going to actually detract a little bit from your pH. So adding a couple of bags of lime at planting is a good thing.
Yeah.
It keeps your pH stabilized.
North Carolina. I like this question. What if you don't have time for a soil sample? What do you do?
What if you don't have time for a soil sample? Well,
how do you not? My answer to that would be anybody has time for a soil sample because it will take you about 3 minutes to do. If you have time to drive to your property, or if you have time to plant the food plot, you have time to go to the store to get lime and fertilizer and this and that and the other, you have time for a soil sample. That's just what I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't skip it, but there's guys that are out there that'll tell you to put 300 pounds of fertilizer.
Waste.
Triple 13 or something, or triple 19. They'll tell you 300 pounds per acre. You don't know that. You might only need 50 pounds. You're wasting all that money.
Yeah, it doesn't.
My 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't skip it either. I mean, again, if sometimes, like, I can't remember who said it, but you can go to your local ag extension, get a soil sample for free, or you can pay $12. And most times a bag of fertilizer, say a bag of triple 19, I mean, you're looking at 14, 15 bucks for a bag of fertilizer. And if you're adding 300 pounds of that and you don't need it, you could have easily bought your soil sample. I have 100 yard of woods to the back of the property behind the food plot. Is that enough space to create a bedding area at the back of the property? 100 yard. I mean, it could be, but
deer will lay wherever they want. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We talk about this a lot. It doesn't matter where they lay. You don't need bedding in your area as long as they're coming to your plot in the daylight. As long as they're coming through there, they could be bedding 3 neighbors away. You don't care. As long as they're coming to your plot during daylight hours, you can get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys with these small properties are all worried about bedding. You don't need to be.
Yeah.
Sure, it'd be nice if they bedded there. It'd be great.
Yeah.
They don't always.
Only thing I'll add to that is that on the small properties, again, like you just said, I wouldn't focus on bedding because, if there's bedding too far away from, say you have a food plot and there's and the bedding is 600 yards away, a deer's not going to travel 600 yards in theory to go to your food plot when a neighbor or something has a food plot. They're going to go to that nearest food plot. So by the time they get to your land, it may be dark. So you're going to miss the opportunity. So the reason that all these people are thinking of bedding, and it's a hot topic, is because they think that they don't have this bedding on their property, that the deer's not going to get to their land in time. Well, on small properties, you run out of room to create bedding and food altogether to keep on your property. So you end up making the situation worse because you just spook them out. And if your property is really small, most likely there's going to be a deer somewhere in the world around that property on your neighbors that is going to be close enough to come to your food plot. The bigger your properties go, then you can start worrying about bedding, because then you can actually keep them on your land with bedding, and then you can have them travel to your food source. But it just depends. Small properties, I would not worry about bedding. The larger the property is, then you could focus on it. But again, a deer is going to bed where it wants to bed, and a deer is going to bed when it gets tired.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been hunting somewhere, and I'm just sitting there, and here comes a deer, here comes a buck, and they just decide to lay down 50 yards in front of me in the middle of nowhere for no reason. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why is that deer bedding here right now? There's no rhyme or reason for it, but it got tired, or it was getting a little bit of sun, and it was getting sleepy, and it just decided to lay down.
The other thing I would add to that is when you dedicate property to bedding, you can't hunt it. So, if you're dedicating half your property to bedding, that's half your property you can't hunt now, because you got to stay out of there, you blow them out.
Yeah.
So if you have small property to begin with, it doesn't make sense to focus on bedding, because you'll eliminate places to be, places to put stands. I have only 3 acres here at my personal home, my residence. I have 3 acres, and I put some plots down there.
You don't want them bedding there.
I don't want them right there, because I got to walk in there after work and get up in a tree. So I'm playing a waiting game. I'm hoping they're on the neighbor's property, but I have food there. They know it's there, and they come through there looking for a bite before they head on out to some bigger pastures.
Yeah.
And I shoot a deer there every year.
Now, that's the other thing. Like if you do have bedding that's like really far away, and it's like, man, it's kind of iffy if that deer is really going to travel to your food plot. Well, that comes back to having the most palatable food source in the area. So if you're taking the time, deer is going to go where the food is. A deer is going to feed on. Think of it this way: when you see a deer in a field or a pasture or whatever it is, what are they doing? They're taking a bite here, they're taking a bite here, they're taking a bite here, they're taking a bite here. It's because they're picking through that field, and they're eating what's palatable, and they're leaving the rest. They eat the best, and they leave the rest. So cows do the same thing. They eat the best, leave the rest. If your food plot is the most nutritious, palatable food source in the area, trust me, a deer is going to make their way to that food plot at some point, and hopefully you're there to get a shot. Sean.
Got some North Carolina guys. Got North Carolina guys, Georgia guys, PA guys.
Yeah, David's back. What's up, buddy? What's up, guys, here in Georgia? Anybody else? I had somebody, I can't remember where that was. Somebody called me the other day. We missed a question, too.
Where'd you get?
Whitetail institution clover and some antler grow, and you can't keep the deer out.
Oh.
Missed that one.
Antler grows the stuff, man. Get it on your plots. There's
Belinda. How does sunflowers work for organic matter?
Awesome.
So the heads on the sunflowers, most times if you plant sunflowers, the deer are going to eat the leaves on them, which is okay. If you can get them established past a foot, they're going to continue to grow. The deer will tend to leave them alone. They will eat the leaves on them, but who cares? That's fine. If you're using them for organic matter, because they have those thick stalks and that giant head on there. I remember 3 years ago, we planted this it was a new plot, and we planted pure sunflowers in there. There was some sorghum, I believe, and they were they were just so pretty to look at. And we came in there and we killed them. We ran them over and tilled them back into the soil.
Hate
And
mail.
people, yeah, hate mail. People wanted to kill me. They're like, man, you're crazy. But that plot had a CEC and organic matter of like 4. After that next year doing that, my organic matter and CEC was above like 12. It exploded. So that's the reason why.
Blenda, just plant enough that they don't come along and clean them up before they have a chance to grow. I made that mistake last year. I tried planting strips. I was trying to go for the architectural look, and I planted some strips, and they just came along and bit the heads off each one of them. So, yeah, plant enough that they aren't going to wipe you out.
It's definitely a pass-through property. Gotcha. Thanks for
Oh,
the
yeah.
explanation. Appreciate your time tonight. No problem,
Yeah.
Scott.
Hope it helps.
Ryan, I just got done cutting down a lot of ironwood for a new bedding area. Very nice.
Travis.
The neighbor and I are doing a timber cut. I am cutting 7 acres. He is cutting 24 acres, mostly maple and poplar. There'll be a hard edge of northern white cedar on northern edge. Any recommendations? Well, I mean, you got it going for you pretty good there. I love timber cuts. I think they're one of the probably the most beneficial thing that you can do to your property. With that said, is sometimes when you do timber cuts, sometimes you're taking the trees, sometimes you're leaving them lay. But a big failure with that is if it's too thick and the deer can't move through it. So my suggestion would be to not take all the trees, but just to cut some and leave them lay, but also make sure that you can maneuver through there, deer can maneuver through it, and they're not trapped. Because if you make a timber cut and you drop all the trees and it's just so thick, deer can't get through it, then you just made it worse because they can't get through the property. So, but that's good that you have the hard edge there with the cedars and all that. But the timber cut, I would start with that first, like you said, open it up, make it to where they can maneuver through it, and I think you'll have great success with it.
Yeah, your regeneration is going to be nice when all that stuff starts coming up through there. There's going to be lots of browse and new sprouts of things.
Yeah,
it'll take off, and they will be in there
for
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I'm getting there. Would you put roads in, plant them?
Like tram roads, maybe.
I think he was talking about the timber
for that
cut.
clear cut. Oh yeah. It's a good idea, Travis. Make some clearings through there.
I would make clearings through their roads, but I personally wouldn't plant it.
Won't need to with all that regrowth.
Yeah. Plus, if that timber cut is now technically when you do it, it's going to become a bedding area. So I've seen guys where they make a bedding area, whether it's hinge cut or cutting trees down, and all of a sudden they get in there and they spray it all down with these chemicals and they blow all the leaves out and they plant it like they're planting a food plot. That's a huge mistake because you're making a bedding area, adding the food. There's no reason for the deer to leave. They got food, they got woody browse, they got greens, they got bedding. There's no reason for them to leave. So the whole idea of a bedding area, when you do that, is to most times create woody browse. So, but you don't want green there because then there's no reason for them to leave. They have everything they need. What age did you get into doing food plots and deer management? I'm 17 and I started at the age of 14. I planted my first food plot. It was at my parents' house when I was 14 years old, and I'm now 36. So I did food plots for several years. Then I stopped doing it for a little while, but then I got back into it in my early 20s. And then the actual management part where I started getting on the different properties like leases and, trying new things and all this was in my mid 20s. So, been a while. Chris is
I
old. Chris is
I'm
old.
old. I am old.
He's dust.
I've been hunting since I walked off of Noah's Ark. But yeah, I've been at it a while. I've only been food plotting though seriously for about 7 years, and I nobody around me was really into it. And I always had these aspirations of filming hunts and planting food plots and doing all this stuff, you know, and just none of my buddies were serious about it, and I always wanted to do it. So I just decided one day I had a spot down in my woods and I just started clearing some stuff out. And through trial and error, the first 2 years were, I wouldn't say a total failure, but they weren't real good. And so that was learning experience. And it was hard at first, but yeah, you learn as you go. It's trial and error. If it don't work, you try something else. You go back and you study a little more. You get good information. You can't get on Facebook and ask information from these social sites. It's ridiculous. The bad information that gets dealt to you. It's horrible.
Well, it's bad information and everybody bashes each other and one
Yeah.
person has an idea and it turns into argument and I stay out of it.
Yeah. But to answer his question of age, so 7 years ago, I would have been about 42, and I'm now 49 going on 50.
You're
So
old.
I am.
Slit your throat and watch the dust come out.
Nah, I just fart dust.
Okay. Dave has got a question. Which domain seeds do y'all recommend to plant or to grow in the springtime? I haven't seen anything that has a lot of buckwheat in it. Well, typically, when you're planting buckwheat, you're going to plant a solid stand of buckwheat. So you're going to buy 50-pound bags of it, and you're going to make a buckwheat food plot. Typically, people plant buckwheat to either one, build organic matter, which that's really the only reason. It's not really deer food per se that they will eat it, but you want to build that organic matter, keep something in the ground growing, shade out weeds, such and such and such. Domain though, you could plant hot chick is a good one. You could plant no BS would be a good spring and summer plot. One of those two. You got Comeback Kid, which is a bunch of clovers that you could frost seed as well. But if you're looking to do buckwheat itself, no company like smaller, seed companies, the independent ones, most of the times they're not going to sell you a 50-pound bag of something because it's too expensive to ship and all that. So when you get into these smaller independent seed companies, you're looking at specific engineered mixes for the typical average hunter that's planting a half acre, quarter acre, 3/4 of an acre, 1 acre food plot or something like that. And you just have to be careful because a lot of the companies have seeds where they put ryegrass in it, a lot of weed seeds, and it's mixed in there, and it can get ugly. So you just have to find one that has pure seed. And a lot of these independent companies are getting into specific seed varieties where they're hybrids, and hybrids are very interesting because there's a lot of weird, crazy things that can happen with them, such as brassicas. They have I think it's called Big Sexy, but they have a hybrid brassica now that will regrow 4 times. So a deer takes a bite, it regrows. Deer takes a bite, it regrows. Deer takes a bite, it regrows. It has the capability of regrowing 4 times. So these companies are seeking out these special variety seeds specifically for deer hunting. And most times when you buy seed, unless it's a special variety like a hybrid or something, all seed comes from the same place. So, but when you get into these different varieties of seeds, it's different. It's independently grown to where you got these hybrids, and it goes on and on. That goes beyond my scope of life.
I would direct him over to Domain Outdoors LLC website, and there's a food plot selector tab at the top of the page. You can click on, and you can scroll down. You can scroll down and see it.
Look at Mike Wise text me today or message me. He bought Hot Chick. He bought Hot Chick. He just had it delivered. He's frosting it in Ohio.
Yeah, nice.
I planted honeysuckle before about 8 years ago. Growing awesome. Very nice. Very nice. Can you explain frost seeding? When to do it? You did that earlier, but summarize it again.
We did it earlier, but you want to do it when there's when the ground's pretty clear, no snow. If you have to, rake away leaves and grass and dead pine needles, whatever there is, rake it down to bare dirt. And around March, early April, when your ground is heaving, you're going to have nighttime freezing and daytime thawing. And what that does is it takes the different soil and it'll heave and freeze and thaw. You get that seed on, and it actually just shakes or works the seed right down into the dirt and plants it Mother Nature's way. It puts it right down, seed to soil contact, and when the soil temperature warms up enough, it'll germinate. That's my abbreviated version.
Say heave again.
Heaving. The ground heaves, freeze and thaw.
Christopher,
hello.
What's up, buddy?
Thanks for watching.
Okay, that sounds great. What are your thoughts about the Brew Boss seeds? Have y'all gotten to use it yet? David, have not planted that yet, but I am planting it this year. That's a 2-part mixture.
It has winter peas, turnip, radish, forage oat, rape, buckwheat, clover, and chicory.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop.
It sure is.
Yep, but I'm getting that this year and planting that for sure.
My thoughts are go for it.
Incognito, planted that before. That's great. Great wall screen. We'll be planting that again. Chris will be planting that. Probably be planting some Big Sexy, some Comeback Kid, No BS, the Boss Brew.
I'm planting it all.
Hot Chick.
Plant it all.
Plant it all.
I'm planting it all. I'm planting strips of everything.
Strips of everything.
I gotta fill up 20 acres.
We're planting. Looking forward to watching that video and seeing how it turns out. Thanks.
Our Boss Brew. Yeah. There's definitely going to be a lot of videos coming that's gonna highlight Domain in the future.
Yeah.
We're going to be using their seed this year and promoting them, and you're definitely everything you're going to see in our plots is going to be coming from them. So we give them the knowledge.
They're an exciting company because like Mike and Tim, I like them. They're cool guys. They're going to be coming on to make some videos on our channel, sharing some information about different hybrid seeds more than I can explain. But they'll be on, talking about it, and we'll be planting the seeds and making videos and documenting it, throughout the whole year update videos and showing you how it's coming along. And, and we always show, no matter what it is we plan, if we have a failure, we show a fail, and then we learn from that, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, there are a couple of younger guys. They have day jobs, but they're making a run at this company, and they put out some good product. And we're looking forward to working with them and probably have a live session with them one of these days. We're all four of us will probably be on this page answering questions for everybody.
Mike and Tim, they're funny, laid back, chill, good dudes.
What's your thoughts?
What's your thoughts on fruit-bearing trees like persimmons and apples, and as well as blueberries and elderberries? I made a video about this a month ago, 2 months ago, and people misunderstood what I was saying, and they thought I was saying that fruit trees are bad, and they're not bad. What happens is, again, people get too much social media, and they think that these fruit trees and such are the best thing in the world to plant on the property, and they can be great. They're very attractive, but they are a limited food source. They don't produce fruit 12 months out of the year. So if you're planting them, you might get a few months of fruit that's dropping, but that's only a small portion of a deer's diet. They need way other important things than a fruit tree. So it's a very limited resource of food. Now, if you get a brand new property and you look at it and it's like, wow, I have no food here. What am I going to do? Well, some guys are taking fruit trees and that's all they're doing is planting fruit trees. And it's silly because they're a limited resource. What you need to do is, plant some fruit trees, but plant a food plot, cut some trees down, hinge cut, do something to get a more sustainable food source in there that can last you, as Chris would say, 365.
365.
Fruit trees are not 365. They're a very limited food source. They complement other food. So if you're lacking food, I wouldn't make fruit trees my top priority.
I agree. It's all good stuff. It's another tool in your box. But another thing, I don't know if you really said this, but that stuff's not going to be there during hunting season. So, they're getting it throughout the spring and summer, but it's not a producer for you during hunting. So, you're giving them a little bit of a treat. Looking forward to seeing y'all. See what bucks you let go.
Let go this year?
Well, we had a 9 lives deer this year.
We did. We had
what, 3 times?
3 times.
3 times we had a deer with 9 lives.
I screwed up 3 times on the same deer, same buck.
Yeah, he'll be there this year.
Since I came in late, have y'all mentioned about any big projects y'all have this year?
Good question.
I don't think we really talked about that.
We didn't tell any plans yet, really.
Yeah. So on the we work together on all properties, but so I'll just say in general, we're renting skid steers again. We are clearing some more trails. We're gonna be cutting some timber down, making some travel routes, hinge cutting a little bit, and opening up some trails to maneuver around the property a little bit better, and opening up some other existing trails that have been covered up that were old logging roads, and we're going to be using them to create travel corridors to maneuver through the property a little bit better. And we're going to be planting a bunch of stuff and spraying as we always do, antler grow and all that. And then Chris is going to be planting all kinds of stuff over there, and we'll be planting stuff here, and we'll be cutting here and cutting there, and we'll be riding some bikes, motorized bikes down the road. We'll be we'll be doing some sick of deer hunting in Maryland. Chris is going to come to Maryland, and he's going to stay at my house, and we're going to do some sick of deer hunting. We're going to plan that out and scout that. And
I can't wait. Can't wait for that adventure.
well, every time we hang out, it's always something.
It's an adventure. We always break something and then have to figure a way to make it work. But we always get it done. We get it done.
Somehow we always do.
Yeah. Even if it takes coming back to my place and welding for an hour and then going back, we get it done.
Always happens. That's the fun of it, though. It's like you just go with it.
It turns out it works.
Then you have moments where you lose a socket and I flip out, and
you lose a socket and I find it and you flip out.
You want to tell that story real quick?
Do I have to?
It's funny.
Well, we was putting trail cams out, and there was how many inches of snow? I have no idea. And Dave was carrying a cordless drill with a socket on it, and we was going to put some of those lock boxes on the trees and lag bolt them in for his trail cameras. And when he was walking, he went through some of that Egyptian wheat screen, and I think it actually just like kind of pulled the socket off of the chuck as he walked through there. And we got to where he wanted to put this box on a tree, and we couldn't find the socket. He thought I was messing with him. He thought I took his socket or moved it or kicked it or buried it in the snow, but we legitimately couldn't find it. And he had a meltdown and we left. And then how long after that? Oh man, that was almost, it was at least 6 or 8 months later.
Yeah, months.
It was months that, and I have this very bad habit of looking down and finding everything. And yeah, I found his socket shining in the dirt 6 to 8 months later in the Egyptian wheat screen. And I picked it up, showed it to him, and said, look, you accused me of losing this, and here it is. That was the funny story.
Yeah. Had a moment.
He had a moment. He had a meltdown. What did we miss? Okay, we're down to Gary Tubb.
Gary Tubb?
Yeah. Underneath Dave.
Got it.
722. There you go.
I envy you guys that hunt in non-wild hog states. I didn't fence in my food plots in East Texas this fall, and the hogs eat pretty much all seed. Yeah, hogs they'll wipe you out.
I would love to like do some hog hunting sometime, but I'm glad they don't tear up everything here. Man, they're brutal on plots.
Plan 110 Pearl Cherry. All right, to support 2 wives and families.
Oh boy.
Wow.
He likes trying to support 2 wives and families. Wow. Good on you, bro. Good luck with that. I try to just please one and it ain't working.
Plan 110. Apple, pear, and cherry. It's like trying to support 2 wives and families. Got it.
It's like trying to support, yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, I got one and it's hard to do.
7-foot T-posts, lots of mulch, lots of lime, gypsum, fruit trees need calcium. Yeah, for sure. Can't wait for 2021 season. Gain access to small 70-acre farm, trying to make it a great piece of land. I'm soaking all the information I can on land management, Central Virginia area. Great show. Thanks, Scotty.
Good.
David's back. Do you have any videos on making trails in the woods? I don't believe I've seen any on your YouTube channel. I don't. Sometimes when we get to cutting and we do certain things, we don't film it. I don't want to say I forget, but like because you're trying to pack all this stuff in like a day and you're trying to get all this work done, And sometimes I end up not filming anything, and I actually get frustrated with that I didn't film that because I'm trying to provide the information to you guys. But no, I don't have any videos, and we are doing that this year, and we will be filming it, making videos about it. So we will have lots of videos about that.
I think I only have the one video, the one we made at the fire road. We opened it up and
Yes.
groundhog maxed the whole road,
Yeah, we
and
did do that.
then we planted it with a mix for the trail.
Yeah.
That I think that's the only one on my channel of making a trail.
Lots of people bait around me. Is doing food plots a half acre even worth it? 120%. It is worth it. 100%. Because what happens is when people are baiting around you, they're most likely going to be pressuring those bait piles, and they're going to push the deer out. And if you can have that palatable, unpressured food source, food plot, you're going to win.
Yeah, it's better than not trying at all.
Awesome. Can't wait for those videos. How do you feel about hybrid willows for screen versus Egyptian wheat or switchgrass? Well, Egyptian wheat is an annual, so you're only going to be good for, during hunting season. Switchgrass is a perennial. It's going to last 10, 15 years if we do it right. Hybrid willows, I mean, it depends if you're planting a permanent screen. Where I'm at, I don't plant a permanent screen because my food plot designs in my head change each year. So I try different things. Now, if you're looking to block a road or something that's a more permanent setup, then yeah, you need something, other than Egyptian wheat. Even switchgrass, like switchgrass can grow, 6, 7 feet tall, but it's still very thin, and even when you do it right, I don't look at switchgrass as a screen per se. I don't like switchgrass for screens. But if you're using switchgrass, if you have an old field or something and you're looking to convert it into, some cover with some food in it and such, then yeah, I think switchgrass is a great thing. But using switchgrass for a screen, I just don't like it.
I don't put in anything permanent. I like to switch it up, so I use the Egyptian wheat. And I don't have any experience with willows, so I can't even answer that.
Yeah, I should retract my statement because I am planning a permanent screen this year. So, which is going to be switchgrass. And it's going to be a test to show people. So that's that. Uh-oh. We got trouble.
Look who it is. Look who it is. Trouble's here.
Trouble.
There he is.
Bring us close.
Goozies? What's up, Goozy family?
I got a date here with the Goozies.
You do not. You ain't got no date.
I do. I think it's March 12th. I could be wrong, but I think it's March 12th.
You couldn't buy a date.
Whatever. Either the 5th or the 12th. Maybe I don't know who's watching, but I'm driving to Virginia. I'm visiting the Goozies. I think it's the 12th, March 12th.
Maybe he'll buy you a steak.
Might.
He had a picture of the kids on the other day. They had these humongous steaks. Had these humongous steaks on the plate.
I
I
saw
think
that.
I think the caption said it was a lot easier when they used the kids menu or something like that. I was cracking up.
Learning from the best. I don't know about
Well,
that.
thanks. Boy.
Yeah, I'm heading down there. I think March 12th. Do some videos and stuff like that with them.
What else you got?
So all the questions we got as of right now. Nope.
SJ.
I wanted to make a business approach to attract and hold deer. What would be on the list in addition to food plots? Um, how many acres do you have? Tell us that, and I can help you out better.
A really minimal approach would be to get near some on the edge of an ag field.
55 acres. So in that case, if you
he
already
needs
have,
some browse.
huh?
He needs to get some browse going in his area.
So to add to that, I would say woody browse. If you have 55 acres, I would do a select cut or even a clear cut in a certain part of that, depending how your land lays, to get some woody browse in there. Deer need um, a variety of food. They need woody browse and they need greens. They need that combination. Most properties lack woody browse. It's just not there because there's never been no select cut. There's never been no timber harvest where you're allowing sun in there, and it lacks like every property that I go to. I mean, there's no woody browse. It's hard to come by, but it shouldn't be. It's just need to start managing your people's lands to where you get this. And food plots are great, but food plots are supplemental. Like a lot of people think that food plot is it's just you know is like 100% a deer's diet, and it's not. Like you got to consider like if we didn't plant food plots, like all the deer going to die? And the answer to that is no, they're not going to die, because without us, doing anything for them, they still have, other food sources. Now, depending on what each property is different, some property is going to have more food than others. But you just have to account for that and know your property and what you're lacking. So, you need more food, woody browse.
He just commented he's got half pines and half hardwoods.
Best method to plant switchgrass would be frost seeding. Why ain't this? Oh, there we go. Half pines, half hardwoods. Nice. Half pines, half hard. I mean, if you have a good solid line there, I mean that's a good travel section. Anytime you get two different types of timber, it's a very good setup. Oaks, and you got it all. You got food plots, you got oaks, you got pines, you got hardwoods. I mean, it sounds like you have a good variety of a timber, but the
Yeah, but
attract.
yeah, if he's not going to plant plots though, he needs to have that woody browse line for them to eat on.
Yeah.
Get stuff waist high, face height on a deer, basically.
Thoughts about planting Egyptian wheat near a creek line around my food plot.
Got to have sunlight.
Yeah. Egyptian wheat needs full sun, and if it's around a creek, hopefully it doesn't flood. But you got to have sunlight.
Got to have full sun. For sure. It likes the heat.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're on this bad boy for an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh,
I'm getting sleepy.
you're old.
I am. I gotta get up at 2:30 in the morning, but
Yeah.
Chris does too. But appreciate you guys joining in, asking questions, interacting, and I guess we'll probably be back next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday as well. We'll continue to do these, and hope you guys had fun and enjoyed the answers and interacting with each other and questions. And you guys can subscribe to Chris, Steady Sticker Chris.
Yeah,
And
guys, get over there and subscribe, would you?
yeah, and we'll see you guys back here next week.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we roll out? What do you guys say?
I'm good. I just want guys to subscribe.
All right.
I get a lot of views, but people don't subscribe. It'd be nice to have them subscribe. Help a
They don't
brother
like,
out.
they don't like you.
Well, I got to do everything for you, so they should be subscribing to me, So
Here we go. You got
just
them on
saying.
a rant. Got them
Just
on a
saying.
rant.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
All right. Later.
Hope you all liked it.
Yep.
See you next week.
Get some good questions for next week.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was good. A lot of
Later,
guys. See ya.